Do you think your cost of living is too high? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you why it's about to get out of control into outer space. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. What are we talking about? COP28. You may have heard of this, an event that was set up. You had all these different countries, people, representatives, supranational entities, all coming together under one roof to talk about climate change. What are we going to do about it? What are the changes we're going to make? And I'm about to show you why in that meeting, that very important meeting, something very subtle and yet extremely important for you, the prices that you pay on everything are going to change right about now. Let's get into it right away. There are 2 points that I need to make, and while I will cover this and I'll give you the details, your friend Al Gore had a lot to say. I wanted to show you this as well. COP28 agreement is about to crush your standard of living. We have this divide in between the East and the West, which is right smack dab in the middle of the Middle East. And that's where we have found the biggest change. So they meet in Dubai. And at this meeting, some very important things have happened, and I'll show you. Countries will delay their goals because you've probably heard this. By 2030, we are going to do so and so. By 2035, we're going to do this. And it depends. It's the electric vehicles. It's the fact that the emissions need to be net zero. All businesses have to abide by these rules, and so on. And so every country comes to the table and basically says, okay, by 2030, what are you going to achieve? And what I have found, and it is very apparent right here at COP28, that the West is going head first. They've got to push for it. They are the ones that are saying, we will make sure that this gets done by 2030. And yet, the other countries have said, we have no way to do that, but we're going to try to make this target and this target. We promise it's going to be a-okay in a matter of time. You see what's happening here? Right at the time in which we have the shift starting, the multipolar world, it is those countries that are part of this growth that are saying, well, we can't necessarily get there by 2030 with the electric vehicles or the net zero, but we're going to try our best. And I'm going to show you that, and we'll explain in this further why that's going to hurt you real bad, because the United States, Canada, UK, they are all really affecting your lifestyle, in which, for example, you want to go into the center of Manhattan, you got to pay the toll. You want to go into the center of London, you got to pay the toll. Or you've got to have the electric vehicle. All these different things are happening right now in which, in the end, it's a higher cost of living for you. Do you see? And more control, by the way. Phase down, not phase out. COP28 deal on fossil fuels disappoints activists and vulnerable states. What they're talking about, the vulnerable states, is those like the Maldives and other areas that they're saying, hey, they need to get their stuff fixed globally or else they're going to be in bad shape. That's the story anyway. And so they want to suggest that, hey, let's get off of these things like oil. And who is the leader? Who is the head of the COP28? Well, let's talk about that. Al Gore repeatedly took aim at Al Jaber being picked by the UAE to chair the climate conference. As the summit host, the local government chooses the president of the talks. He's a nice guy. He's a smart guy. I've known him for years. But he has a direct conflict of interest. And this isn't some kind of nitpicking complaint. This goes to the heart of whether or not the world is going to have the ability to make intelligent decisions about the future. What's he talking about? He says this: his main job is the head of the oil company. And honestly, when I look at massive expansion plans that they have to increase their production of oil, 50% increase their production of gas, when it ends, do you take us for fools? And so that's what's going on, right? Imagine this: the big oil and gas company, he comes out, he's the head of the COP28. And the thought here was that behind the scenes they were doing some backdoor deals at this event. We don't know. But ultimately, what we can see here is that some countries are saying, okay, we're committing to 2030 and we will lower the standard of living of our people to make sure that is attained. And by the way, you could be on either side. It actually does not matter. You could say, I completely agree with the agenda. I am completely against the agenda. I don't believe it at all, or I'm wholeheartedly believe it. It literally doesn't matter because the governments are going through with this, and the supranational entities that are above our governments are going with it. And so we've got to get stuck. But some countries are going to say, look, we're not going to get off of coal. We're not going to get off of oil. But, we'll also use some solar panels and we'll also use this and that. That's what's going on right here and now. Here we have it. They are abusing the public's trust by naming the CEO of one of the largest and least responsible oil companies in the world as the head of the COP. And basically saying they shouldn't be doing this, they are increasing their emissions and so on. Look, this is the thing. They are potentially doing things that will benefit their countries in this new world order, in this, global south, whatever they call it. They have so many different names. And now what we can see is that you are going to be part of that agenda, but some other countries, maybe not the case. Okay. COP28 president secretly used climate summit role to push oil trade with foreign government officials. So this is the official one. You're going to see this quoted. A lot of different articles are quoting. This is the one. Okay. And that's the claim. Okay. Leaked documents reveal COP28 president and the UAE National Oil Company boss plans to discuss boosting fossil fuel business in bilateral meetings at the climate summit. So when you look at that, take it for what it is. This is the document that suggests that supposedly never happened. But what I have to just think of is who in the end stands to gain and who will lose. And who stands to gain is, of course, the big businesses and those countries which set their own agenda. Who stands to lose? It's you and I. Okay. Looking at this, it's just basically talking about, the different things that have happened previously, ultimately not meeting their goals. That's what this whole thing is about, not meeting their goals. They say they're going to do the goals, they never meet them, and they always fall short. Okay. If you want to get like the good talk, if you want to be able to interact with me and with others on this stuff, like I can't really get deep on this, obviously. We do that on Discord. So the link for the Discord, if you go down in the description, it's there. I would love to hear from you. We have about 1,500 people in here. It is a pretty active Discord group. So I would like to see you in there, link in the description. Like I said, can't go too deep in here, but at least we do have a place where we can do that. Interestingly enough, we have this. The latest dirty word in corporate America is ESG. Now, this is all something that I've been covering 1,000 times before. And what does it tell us? It's that people are tired and fed up of the nonsense. But the funniest part, there were some that were cheering we won against ESG. We got rid of it. And there's others are saying, oh no, ESG, we got to do this. They literally say in here that all they're doing is they're doing the exact same things. Nothing has changed. They're just renaming ESG. You see? The agenda doesn't change. The path, the direction, the trajectory doesn't change. It's just the names. They just confuse things. They move it around. And the people, in the end, have to take it. Here I'm just talking about resources, different things. This is talking about security concerns in the Red Sea, boosts U.S. oil appeal. Very interesting, right? Because they can export a lot of oil. And we'll see if that does continue. Are they going to be shipping more and more to Europe? They have to figure something out, obviously, for Europe with natural gas and so on. What's going to happen here? I'm interested to hear what you think. In that, are we going to continuously see the U.S. outputting a lot of oil? Nuclear is another one. As nuclear debate nears, French minister sees potential for 14 new reactors. So they were decommissioning them. They were putting them all offline. Now, 14 new reactors, bullish, hint, hint, bullish on uranium, although the price has accelerated dramatically since I started talking about it in 2020. Britain to invest 300 million pounds in next generation nuclear fuel program. Again, more of that. Just want to talk about that. You can see the energy usage is one thing, and this is the one, like there's debate about, is it safe or not? That's a whole different debate, but certainly it could power, it had, can do a lot, and it would be classified potentially as part of that ESG, the clean, eco-friendly, and so on, depending how it's done. The new reactor is very different than the old reactors. If they do this, they could meet the power demand. Otherwise, they're going to be using coal. So, you decide. If you want to know all the ins and outs, all the details, I cover that on the Finance Friday. It's a live class that I do have where I share things with people that I just can't get into on the YouTube. So I want to see you there. And that is something that all the details of which are in the link in the description. Okay, this is the best thing that I can do for everybody. And so I want to see you there. Hopefully we'll be able to connect through those Zoom classes. Link is in the description. And of course, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, because when you do, you're supporting the channel and notifying that algorithm. Hey, check out this guy. That's all you got to do. Hit that thumbs up button. And of course, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.